Hey guys, Joshua Peterson Electric. This is the third or fourth part of the video on how to retrofit a Sprinter van that could be used for work and personal. If you remember last year, back in June, I did one, how do you do a van for $100 and split it so you can sleep in it. That was just emptied out and shelled. This one right now, I think I have invested about $2,000, but that's wire, boxes, devices, low voltage and line voltage wire, of course, flex conduit, glue. Definitely want to get a 5-gallon glue bucket for this, not the small one. You don't have to have the extreme cold temperature because it is inside of a van, but the colder one's good. I got it at Home Depot. And then you guys can look at getting carpet. I thought about doing wood, but I decided to do carpet because I didn't like the inside being so heavy. And then I already had some foam mattresses and blankets. I also had already a Mr. Heater and a space heater. So some of this already had. I did get the brackets put in for my van, and it was like, I think $500 or so, or $600 to have someone professionally cut them in. The seat online is easier to find, the 4-seater, than the 3-seater, because a lot of passenger vans with Sprinter get rid of them. Those can be found online with Craigslist or maybe an aftermarket place that sells used vans. I think I picked mine up about 7 years ago for probably about $400 or $500. So in all, you might have about a $3,000 investment to do exactly what I did. LED lighting is fairly inexpensive online. I already had a whole bunch from other jobs that I've done. So yeah, this is how it turned out. I still got to do a few other things to it. But right now, I decided I wanted to split this in 3 levels. I'm not 100% done yet, because I'd like to put some carpet or pull these out really easily to pull out and spray paint them black or gray and then put them back in. The top, I'll probably put carpet. I ran out of carpet, but I decided for up here, this is where all my bedding goes, because while I'm working, this is a space that I don't need, okay? Now you can see these strut brackets. I put in a ton of them, 12 to 13 across. And then over here, I did a little bit less, but I still have quite a few, okay? I used the self-tappers in there, and it is really reinforced. This is 7/8 piece of strut, and then 7/8 inch piece of strut across. I went with silver instead of green to match. This is kind of my low voltage wiring. I'm trying to still figure out what to do here, but in all, I could still figure out how to put a cover over this. But this is how my tape turned out. Turned out very, very well, and it works well. I did the upside blue, and as I came down, I did the underside here white. Now, right now, I only tied on these shelves. I did not use any self-tapping anchors or any kind of 3/8 or 1/4 inch, they're called spring nuts and washers. I wanted to keep this flexible because of work. So right now, I can just untie this. This is a solid number 12 THW and stranded wire, and I put 2 on each, and so it's sturdy as heck. It's not going to go anywhere. But it's actually very easy to take out and just get some new wire. So right here is just a 3/4 OSB board. My wife decided to go a little bit thinner on this one, and that's totally fine. This was strong enough. It's probably more closer to a 1/2 inch. That's actually 5/8. That's a little thicker up there. But again, all those brackets will support it. I divided it in 3 levels. Now, this right under here comes out, this large piece of wood. And then I went ahead and I have this very easy to take out in case I have an issue. The carpet can come off, restaple. I have 3 2x4s. And then under here, I put just some extra wood I had left over because of the weight. And then when we decide to go on a 3-week trip to around the country, I have my foam already put in. This little rubber mat is just here because of the seam. But this mat right here, this foam, is about 10 inches thick. So my wife and I are going to be fairly, really warm and insulated. So right under here is, you'll find at Home Depot, it's silver or pink. It's an R30 value, and it's that insulation you put on the side of the walls of the house. They're 4x8 sheets. I cut it to fit perfect around, and then I use the aluminum tape to tape the edges so it doesn't keep crumbling. That slipped in, and then underneath that I had just brown carpet that you saw in my last video. I put that on top of it, stapled it down, and then I put the foam in, and then I put this wood in. So this wood can come out, just stick in my garage. We jump on the bed, pull down our sleeping bags and a comforter or a big blanket. We're ready to go that fast. So right here, I decided to keep, again, all of this loose because if I have any issue, this comes out. This is that spa box I was telling you about with my 3 circuit breakers. And my wire comes in under here to feed that. And so all I have is plugs right there. Okay? I drilled through with a unibit, and then I went ahead and I'll hook up this generator. I just got to make some really short, fat extension cords so they can handle that kind of current. But they're 1,500 watts each. I have a cord that can link together and make them 3,000 watts. I typically don't normally do that because I don't need it unless I'm running one of my big, huge heaters on a job. But yeah, so those are my 2 Yamahas that I'm going to use. And those will literally end up stacking here. We'll probably keep this one thick board there so as we're traveling, I can put the generator on and take it off. Okay. These outlets work. They're GFI protected. I have circuits all the way down. There's another outlet right there. Right here is my Mr. Heater tank. I have an adapting hose with a pressure regulator for a larger tank, so I quit using all those little teeny green tanks at Walmart that are so expensive. And there's my bag with my fittings for that, so I can heat in the dead of winter. Okay, so very simplistic. I will later put an RV plug for 30 amp and drill the side of this. And as you saw in my other video, there's a box right here. I carpeted it, and then I'll be able to pull that off. Now, I couldn't get the exact same depth right here because of the fact the boxes were deep and there's too much of a frame there, okay? And don't worry about going through the side of this, but I would stick to 1 inch to 1.25 inch screws. I didn't puncture anything on the side of this van. I came in here and used the extra carpet and just kind of cut out so the kids' feet. Here's the 4-seater I was telling you about. Okay, they have headrest. Each of them right here can strap right in just fine. There's my other box with carpet to cover it that I have my junction. I have to pull the seat out to do that. Up here, all that tape works right there. I'm going to put a box to cover up this wire. This is for later for TV. And then my wire up here will be able to control half of the lights on this side. Now all my LED works, and once I get my switches in, I'm going to put toggle switches in like this. And once I have one of them work up to the front, and I figure out how to get the other one to work to the back somewhere on that plastic wall, that corner, I'll be able to show you that later. What I am going to use, though, for that is going to be 12-volt batteries, and I'll show you that in a minute. This is a rack I put in a couple extra straps, went ahead and carpeted down, and my shelves turned out pretty neat to be able to put our phones in and our charger, okay? So that worked out really well just for our personal stuff, wallets and things, so we don't lose it when we have everybody in here. Right here's an old shelf that I decided to use. I only put a couple screws in the bottom to hold it, and that's going to be our cubby hole for food and socks, underwear, things like that. Just a piece of strut to help it in place. Again, all of this can come out with about 6 screws if I ever have to pull this seat out. Very universal. And that space will be our space that we cook. What I'm going to do next is build a shelf that somehow comes in and out that I can do prepping of food if it's a rainy day. And that'll come across from that LED tape light all the way this way. All that LED tape light was secured with a sticky back. As you can see, I'm still trying to get that to adhere. It's a little tricky. I might have to put a little bit of glue on that. The rest of it was really well at forming, and I put some tie straps on there just so it could stick and get it to, because it's cold out in January here in Colorado. All of that tape lights up. Again, blue on the top, white on the bottom down below. And that's where my wife and I are going to sleep. Is that enough room, you say? It's plenty. Once I take out that wood, it kind of sinks in another 6 inches. We'll be able to sleep just fine. The kids are all going to be up here. And then there's our extra foam for the kids and our blankets. And these are our shields right here for the window to keep the warmth and privacy. Because when the LED lights are on, you can see everything. Now, right in here is a little bit extra debris there. But right in here is some carpet. And I just cut around what I had leftover remnants just because I wanted to keep our feet clean from the floor getting wrecked. So in all, that's how that turned out. Again, all material involved in this so far has been about $1,200 for me, but you have to put in some extra money, that stuff that I already had. So I had wire, devices, plugs, everything. So you're probably gonna be about $2,000 to build this out, plus your foam. Now my wife, had a neighbor come over and talk to me, and my wife got this foam to fit perfect. She got this online. It's by Curry Form. Okay, great one. It fits just perfect. Then she had to get another one out of another company. to get this to fit. And this is a 2019 Sprinter, so that fits perfect side by side. The dimensions do not change on the curvature of this van until you get to about right here, the handle. Okay, the handles were already extra. They put them on when I bought it, and I already had the bumper that was already on with this toe right here. So a lot of that stuff I got. The only other thing is the doors don't open all the way like my other van. I do not like that at all, but I didn't have an option because they called me up and said, hey, I got a van that's a 1-ton dually with the crew. Now, if you're building this out with tongue and groove wood floor and you're really gonna live in it, I would get myself a dually. The back end of that truck is stout compared to my other van. That thing is solid. Sway bar, the leaf springs, everything about the rear end of that van. It's worth every penny to just go ahead and spend another 10 grand and get that. It is not a 4x4 though, so if you're looking for that, it's up to you. But yeah, so as that is, so right now I've got an electrical job out in Denver, and I'll take all this material. It's a service change. I'll stick it on those 2 shelves, and I won't have to touch anything until I'm ready to leave this coming fall for a long trip. So yeah, so that's kind of a good way to do it, guys. Nice universal way. A lot of people show it on Pinterest as wood. I'll probably try to put some of these on Pinterest. But again, I like to do it with carpet. I put a ton of glue, 3/4 of that I think it was a 2.5 gallon bucket. I'm trying to remember where I have that. It might be inside. But I went through a lot of glue on that and really put it on and took my time. Yeah, here's the glue. And I still have about a quarter left on that. Okay. So anyways, guys, yeah, hopefully you can do that yourself. Oh, 2 other things you don't want to forget. I just don't want to do another video till I'm done with the lighting. Don't forget to get yourself one of these chalks. Nice, strong chalk. I found it on the side of the road. And then these are my 12-volt batteries. I'll probably stick one right up here, find a way to strap it. That way if I gas it or gun it or break it, I don't get hurt. And then the other one, 12-volt battery, goes right back over there. When you're on your trip, don't forget like a zoot suit to cover yourself in case you have a flat tire or it's cold and you got to dig yourself out. Use kitty litter, a whole big bucket of kitty litter to get yourself if you're stuck. Bring your shovel, because these vans are rear-wheel drive. Weight does help, but they still can get stuck. And then the last thing you don't want to forget to have on the van at all times is a simple charger. And if you're at a place eating and you can plug into a cord somewhere, put that thing on 2 amperes, cycle it overnight, and you'll charge those little batteries up just fine, so you can reuse them again for your lights at night. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Hopefully that helped you out.